Hello and welcome. Okay, so picture this. A villain that's literally everywhere. It's in our oceans, on top of our mountains, and yep, even inside our bodies. I'm talking about plastic, and it's a problem on a scale that's just massive. But what if the hero we've been waiting for isn't some caped crusader, but something much, much smaller? Today, we're diving deep into the incredible world of plastic-eating fungi, basically nature's own cleanup crew. And this is all sparked by some really cool new research coming straight out of Pune.
Let's kick things off with a number that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. 25,000 tons. That is how much plastic waste India generates every single day. Just let that sink in for a second. Every single day. And what makes it even worse? A massive 40% of this plastic is never even collected. It just ends up on our streets, choking our drains, and poisoning our environment.
And here's the real kicker. You know that one plastic bottle you toss out? Well, it doesn't just vanish. Nope, it can hang around for about 1,000 years. 1,000 years, slowly breaking down into these nasty little microplastics that pollute our soil and water for generations to come. I mean, that's the legacy we're leaving behind. A very, very long-lasting one.
It all sounds pretty grim, doesn't it? But hang on. What if nature, the very system we've been messing up, already has a solution hidden up its sleeve? A recent bit of news from researchers in Pune has given us this huge ray of hope. So let's get into what they've found.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the plastic crisis and this new fungal hope. Then we'll get to meet these amazing plastic-eating organisms. We'll dive into the science of how they actually do it, figure out why this is such a big deal, and then face some of the challenges we need to overcome. And to wrap it all up, we'll see what this means for India's future in this fight. So, we mentioned that 25,000-ton daily figure for India, but let's zoom in a bit. In just 60 of our major cities, we're talking about a whopping 4,059 tons of plastic waste every single day. It's an environmental crisis playing out in slow motion. For decades, our only options have been to either bury it, burn it, or try to recycle a tiny bit of it. But honestly, none of these are great solutions. Landfills leak toxic stuff, burning it releases horrible gases, and recycling, well, it often just kicks the can down the road. We need something better. And that's where this amazing concept comes into play, mycodegradation. Let's just break down that word. Myco is from the Greek for fungus, and degradation is, well, breaking something down. So it's literally fungi breaking down plastic. They release these special enzymes that act like molecular scissors, chopping up those long, tough plastic chains into smaller, bite-sized pieces that they can actually absorb as food. That's the simple funda behind our whole story today, fungi that can eat plastic.
So who are these tiny superheroes? Well, they're not some sci-fi creation from a lab. They're real organisms found right here in nature, quietly evolving to deal with the mess we've made. And scientists have been finding them in the most obvious places, landfills, plastic dumps, and even in polluted oceans where all our plastic junk ends up. Let's meet these fungal superstars.
What's so cool is that we're not just talking about one magic fungus. There's a whole army of them. You've got the genus Aspergillus, which is a champ at tackling everyday plastics like shopping bags and containers. Then there's Fusarium, a real all-arounder that can even take on tough guys like PVC. Penicillium has shown it can break down polyethylene, especially after the sun has weakened it a bit. And some, like Angiodonium album, are total specialists, focusing on things like polypropylene in bottle caps. It's a whole ecosystem of plastic decomposers out there.
Now, this discovery didn't just happen overnight. The story really starts way back in the 70s with some early clues that fungi could break down simple plastics. But the real action kicked off in the 2000s, when scientists realized just how powerful fungal enzymes are. The absolute game changer came in 2011. Researchers in the Amazon rainforest found a fungus called Pestilodiopsis microspora. And get this, it could eat one of the toughest plastics, polyurethane, even without oxygen, like deep inside a landfill. That discovery just blew the doors wide open, leading to scientists finding more and more species that can munch on our most common plastics.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does a tiny, soft fungus actually break down something as hard and synthetic as plastic? It's not just chewing on it. It's this super sophisticated biochemical attack. Think of it like a perfectly planned heist. Let me break it down for you step by step. So imagine this. Step 1. The fungal agents attach to the target, the plastic. They form what's called a biofilm, which is like setting up their base of operations. Step 2 is infiltration. Their tiny root-like threads called mycelia literally grow into the plastic, creating these micro cracks and weakening its defenses from the inside. Step 3 is the main event. They release their tools for the job, a cocktail of powerful enzymes. In Step 4, these enzymes get to work, cutting up the long, strong polymer chains of plastic into smaller, manageable bits. And finally, Step 5, the fungi absorb these smaller molecules as food. Mission complete. Waste becomes life.
So what are these magic enzymes? They're the real MVPs here. For the really tough plastics like polyethylene and PVC, fungi use heavy-duty oxidative enzymes like lactases and peroxidases. These are the same tools they use to break down tough wood. They basically force oxygen into the plastic structure, making it brittle. Then, for other plastics like PET, the stuff in our water bottles, they use hydrolytic enzymes like esterases and cutinases. These act like tiny scissors, using water to just snip the plastic's chemical bonds apart. It's a highly specialized toolkit for a very specific job.
Okay, so the science is super cool, but let's be real. Why does this matter to you and me? What's the actual real-world impact of finding fungi that can eat plastic? This isn't just some science experiment. It could fundamentally change how we handle waste and protect our planet.
The potential here is absolutely huge. First off, it directly tackles the problem of plastic just piling up. Instead of it sitting in a landfill for 1,000 years, we could break it down way faster. This means we could actually start cleaning up contaminated sites. And crucially, by breaking plastics down completely, it could stop those dangerous microplastics from ever forming. It's a way more sustainable, eco-friendly option than just burning plastic. And who knows, down the line, this could even lead to a true circular economy, where we turn plastic waste into valuable new materials.
Now, as exciting as all of this sounds, we gotta be realistic. This isn't some magic solution that's ready to go tomorrow. There are some serious challenges to overcome before mycodegradation can become a mainstream thing. So it's important to look at those hurdles and also see how this stacks up against the methods we already have.
So what's the holdup? Well, the biggest challenge right now is speed. In a lab, it might take months for a fungus to break down a tiny piece of plastic. That's just way too slow to handle 25,000 tons a day. And scaling this up from a small lab dish to a massive industrial plant is a huge engineering puzzle. There's also specificity. We need fungi that can handle the messy mix of plastic waste we actually produce. And of course, it has to be affordable. Finally, we need to be 100% sure that the stuff left over during the process isn't toxic. We can't solve one pollution problem by creating another one, right?
This table really puts it all into perspective. Mechanical recycling, our current go-to, is established, but it often results in lower quality plastic. Burning plastic is fast, sure, but it pumps out CO2 and toxic fumes. Chemical recycling can make good as new plastic, but it uses a ton of energy and creates its own chemical waste. And then there's our fungi. Their biggest plus, they're eco-friendly and low energy. Their biggest minus right now, they're slow and hard to scale. So the whole mission for scientists is to fix those disadvantages while boosting that amazing eco-friendly advantage.
So let's bring our focus back home. Because India isn't just facing a massive plastic problem, it's also becoming a major hub for finding the solution. These incredible discoveries aren't happening in some far-off lab, they're happening right here, driven by Indian scientists tackling a problem on an Indian scale.
And this quote from the researchers at Savitribai Phule Pune University really says it all. This is the core belief driving their work. They see this not just as a cool idea, but as an efficient and alternative method. This isn't just about publishing a paper, it's a dedicated search for a real practical solution to one of our country's biggest environmental headaches.
And the results are already pouring in. Pune University has found fungi that can take on polythene. The nearby Agharkar Research Institute has discovered 28 different powerful fungal strains living on plastic waste. Another study at a local dump site found a species of penicillium that broke down almost 40% of a polythene sample. And it's not just on land. Researchers have even found a species of Aspergillus in the Gulf of Mannar that can degrade high-density polythene. From our cities to our oceans, Indian researchers are finding local heroes for this global fight.
So what's the path forward from here? Well, it's a four-part plan. We need to keep searching for new, even more powerful fungi. We need to use new tech like enzyme engineering to make the ones we already have faster and better. Critically, we have to get this out of the lab and into the real world with pilot projects. And finally, none of this can happen without policy and public support to fund the research and actually start using this incredible technology.
Which brings us to our final thought. For decades, we've looked at big machines and complex chemical plants to solve our plastic problem. But maybe, just maybe, the most powerful solution has been here all along.
A tiny, humble fungus, just waiting in the soil. Could this be the unexpected hero we need to finally win the fight against the plastic monster that we created?
And that's all for this explainer. If this has got your curiosity going and you want to dive even deeper into this amazing world of mycodegradation, then you've got to head over to our website. We've put together detailed notes from all our sources and even a quick revision mind map to help you remember everything. The link is right there in the description. Thanks so much for joining me.